You might have to win 27, 28, 29 games to go win the league this year, where maybe in the past that standard wasn't quite so high. But I do think that in the overall, Barcelona, I still think is figuring some more things out, especially Lamine Yamal is out right now. We don't know if there might be another injury down the line or someone else might get hurt. They have to figure out what the solutions are. Whereas I think Real are a bit more fortunate right now, where I think they're just figuring out what their 11 is. They're playing young players. They're going for it again and again and again with Mastantuono and Arda Güler and some of these players that you might not expect to be key figures in the team, but have become key figures in the team. So I think for Barcelona, I think today was a decent performance. It wasn't a great performance, but I still think that, to your point, you're figuring things out right now. It's not quite at its absolute brilliant best, which we saw mid-season to the second half of last year, where they were just absolutely sensational game in and game out. And maybe we are holding them against that incredibly high standard, where they were just electric in games. And so because they aren't completely electric, blowing teams away, maybe it's not quite that same feeling this year. But I still think that, to your point, you're figuring things out right now. It's not quite at its absolute brilliant best, which we saw mid-season to the second half of last year, where they were just absolutely sensational game in and game out. And maybe we are holding them against that incredibly high standard, where they were just electric in games. And so because they aren't completely electric, blowing teams away, maybe it's not quite that same feeling this year.
It's fair, and I think you watch this for the Real Madrid team out there, and I think you're now starting to see what the best 11 is. I don't think we can see the Barcelona's best 11 because of the injuries either.
Yep.
So it is difficult to kind of gauge it on based on that. What I do know is that I'm expecting an absolute whale of a title race between these two sides.
Yes.
And let's see if Atletico can get in. That's another weird situation. They needed a hat trick from Julian Alvarez yesterday to get into that match. And like you mentioned earlier, we'll be talking about the Madrid derby this weekend later on in the show, because that's obviously going to go a long way to decide who is going to be the champion in La Liga. But I do think that we will see Lamine Yamal, if he gets healthy again, they need to really protect him. Because we saw this game today. We mentioned that they weren't at their best. Part of the reason is because they missed Lamine Yamal. You can say what we want about his age. There's no doubt about his impact on this team and how he really builds into the attack and how he drags defenders with him. And you're seeing just the value of this player when he's not on the pitch for Barcelona.